Cheers to the main.
Cheers to the main.
Cheers to the main. If you can.
You can blur those for copyright purposes.
We don't want Kirkland coming after us, you guys.
No, they've got
You
the
might
good lawyers.
if you want them to sponsor you. What if the podcast was sponsored by Kirkland?
That would be really
Honestly?
iconic.
Yeah, labels out. Labels
The
out.
shirts.
Oh, so good.
Everyone loves
Well, we
Kirkland.
used to drink Topo Chico with Jake
Oh, of course.
because
Yeah.
he loved it. And so we were always like, sponsor us. Well, we're giving it away for free.
Yeah. You gotta give it away for free
A little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Let them
So
know
then
what they
they're like,
could have.
Yes.
And then
Like,
you
like
switch it up.
this?
Ross is the opposite of a tease. He's like an anti-tease. He's like, it's all here for you. Just come, please.
Please.
I'm gonna say it better than LaCroix.
I'm
Kirkland
enjoying
brand.
it. I actually think I agree.
I think
Yeah.
the flavors
Yes.
are better.
I concur. All right, let's
That's
get
how
it
the
started.
whole podcast is gonna go. We'll be in agreement the whole time.
Exactly. No debates here.
Just friendship.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Am I the Asshole podcast. Today, I am joined by the producer of huge, glamorous events like the Victoria's Secret fashion show, Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards,
Yes.
and the Emmys, which yours truly was a robber on it. I robbed an Emmy.
Had a specialty role on the live Emmys broadcast
That's
of
right.
2022, right?
2022.
Shannon, the police
Yeah.
are on their way. You just admitted guilt on the record.
Did you call them in?
Yeah, I mean, well, this is broadcasting live, right?
yeah, this is live,
You
yeah.
know, this one's live.
It's so funny the way these things come about because they were like, we need some like tall, like, you know, ultimately like very beautiful woman to be stealing this Emmy. And I was like, I know the best tall, beautiful woman.
Really?
Yes, of course. I was like, I know exactly what she'd be. She's an actress. She's perfect for it.
Oh
But then
my
I think you had to wear
gosh.
like a box. You had to wear like a full face.
Well, it was supposed
Like
to
a ski
be
mask, right?
that. I mean, I'm.
Oh,
I
it
love
was
how I'm in the
because-
middle of my intro and I haven't finished, and we're on.
no,
the
but
first
it's
story.
because
it was supposed to be somebody, a celebrity,
yes,
was going to be unmasked. So
Yes.
it was supposed to be that I was just like in this like hot suit,
yeah.
and I was like. It was as if I was an attendee at the Emmys, and then I go behind stage and I steal an Emmy.
Yeah,
and then
it
I
was good.
run. I'm running through shows. We had to do green
Yeah.
screen, so I was literally running through different. Oh no, well, and
Different
or
TV shows. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
like
different
running
TV
through the
shows,
background
right?
of different scenes of all the different shows.
on.
And then you
which
end up on the
network?
stage.
Yeah, and
Then they arrest you and take you away.
Chris Meloni and Mariska Hargitay,
Mariska Hargitay, yeah.
are arresting me because the last one I go through is Law and Order.
Yeah.
Iconic.
I mean,
So
good. It was a great bit.
It was.
I stand by
been
that
better.
as a
It would
great
have been
bit.
better though if I was in the hot suit. Oh, because that was the other thing. They made it a robber because they wanted the reveal to be a celebrity. So I was just going to
Yes.
basically be doing like stunt work.
Right. And then it was.
And then it wasn't. So then I actually did get to run out on stage. I was like, oh.
Oh, that was fun.
That was fun. And also joined by the customer service rep for Minecraft in German.
The rep.
The rep.
Das bin ich.
Yeah.
German from here on out. Danke, hier zu sein. Ich bin sehr froh. Also, hallo Leute.
Hallo Leute, ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich. Ich liebe Deutschland.
Ja.
Deutschland über alles. It's a fun gig. It's worked from home.
Yep.
It's not quite as glamorous, but you know,
it's so
as
cool.
a long-time player of the game, it's kind of fun to get a little behind the scenes.
And I think the customer service things you get sometimes are pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. People are crazy, you know? And there's just like also not a lot we can do, which is kind of funny because a lot of times people are just locked out of their account. It's like, you got to go talk to PlayStation about
Yeah,
that
sorry.
or whatever it is. So
Send them along. But you can't even connect them to them, right? You're just like, give them
here's a
call.
link. Here's a link. Click the
Oh,
link.
okay, nice,
It's
nice.
pretty easy. It's all on email, you know? So
What I think is glamorous is that, like, at 5 o'clock, when it turns to 5 o'clock, Ross is like, and I'm done.
Yes.
And, like,
Shut
closes
down.
his
Nice.
laptop,
Shut
and
down
it's,
the
like,
computer.
over.
And when do you start? Like 9?
And-
yeah, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I feel like
That's
when I'm
really
working,
nice.
I'm
it's
like,
round the clock.
I'm like crawling home at like 8 p.m. and then there's like still emails to do and still like calls and all kinds of shit. So I'm just like
That
pretty
seems
glamorous.
really
I wouldn't say it's
nice.
not
Yeah, I would
glamorous,
say
Ross.
yours is actually the
I would say
glamorous
it sounds pretty good to me.
Guilty as charged.
Living the luxe life.
Yeah. That part is nice. Absolutely.
That is really nice.
They're like, yeah, make sure you shut off your computer when you clock out in case there's like updates and stuff to run. They're like,
so
just
you
do all
don't
that.
have
So it's
to.
literally like clock out at 5, which is on a website, and then put the computer away and go switch to the other computer on the same desk. That is my
perfect.
personal.
Oh, and then you actually play Minecraft.
Yeah, sometimes I do.
All right, well, let me finish this intro. And the best couple I know, who I think I can take a little bit of credit for getting together, please welcome Ross and Della.
Hello.
So these are my friends from, well, actually, technically, we all did go to ASU,
Yes.
but we were not
Yes.
friends in school.
No,
I never met you guys.
No, but there's a lot of people in my friend group who are like that. Like people who I knew about in college, and like they were in my program, but they weren't my like immediate friends.
Yes.
That like as I've gotten older, have been the ones that like were into the same stuff as me and like moved to the same city as me and like have become like the closer friends.
Yeah.
Or, like all these people that
Oh, same. I didn't
Yeah.
know anyone basically in our friend
Yeah.
group. So that's how I was with Danny too.
Yeah.
So we're all in the same friend group, and Jake as well.
Yeah.
Jake.
And everybody I got close with after. Myself and a few of our really close friends all came out like right away, and then you guys were a little bit later because Della was finishing or doing a master's program in England.
Yeah.
And then Ross, you were finishing up school somewhere else.
Yeah, back in
right?
Chicago.
Back in
Yeah,
Chicago.
and then I had appendicitis, which was bad, and then it was 2 weeks in the hospital, dude. It was not fun. I have a crazy scar from it.
Oh shit!
That we'll save
Should
that for
you
the
show it?
bonus
Let's show
episode.
the- yeah.
No, that's
Well,
bonus
yeah, you
episode. They
had
gotta pay to
the
see that
paywall,
shit.
baby.
Content.
Come on, I don't give it away for free. But I moved out in like March or April of 2014.
Yes. And then
And I think
he
Della, you
lived-
were
And then I
October.
October of 2014.
Nailed it.
October 24th. Okay,
Yeah.
so I remember when you were moving out, Della. So I love family names. Shannon and Dee are both family names. So like for some reason I was like thinking about what I would name my baby, and the baby I have in 15 years because this was like 20 when I was like 24. And my great grandmother's name is Della, and I was really excited. I was like, oh, actually, I really like that name. Like, I want to name my future daughter that. Like, that's the name I'm going to name her. And then that week, Patrick was like, oh, my friend's moving out. Her name's Della. I was like, wait.
I got there first,
no!
bitch. I got there first.
Because I was like, I don't know anyone named Della. I'll never have to.
You still
like,
can. You can still name her Della.
Well, now I definitely know that I can because I love you, and I
okay,
would be
good.
honored to have my daughter share a name with
I
you.
would be honored.
But I definitely at the time was like, no, like what the fuck? And Patrick was like,
Plan is
okay,
ruined.
psychopath.
I think you'll like her. I don't know.
Yeah. These two met there like shortly after. Well, I guess only like 2 months later.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were our Ross and his roommates, our friends, were having a Sadie Hawkins Christmas dance.
It's important to note that it was a Sadie Hawkins theme because
Yes.
the first time that I went over to Patrick's house or apartment at the Croft Loft was to do one of them writing nights
Yes.
that we used to
Those
do.
like Tuesday
remember
night
that.
things where
Our
and
Tuesday
Cook a
night
bunch of
things. Yeah, we would all
food
get
and-
together and write and just joke around and get high.
or like
and
if
eat
people
food.
had something they want to read out
Yeah,
and people
yeah,
could
yeah.
like give notes on it, that kind
Pitches
of like
and stuff.
it's just like a collective of creatives, just like
best.
no, it
It
was
was
great.
the
I loved
best.
it. It was great, and it was my intro
good,
to everyone
'cause
because
we
I
were
had
all
just
super young
moved.
and we were all super poor
Yeah.
Oh,
and we just
yeah.
like didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
This is that 5 to the chef thing I've told you guys about before, where Ken would cook and then we would all pitch in $5.
Yeah.
So that was this time, and it was really
wow,
amazing
throwback.
creative outlet. And then I remember
So
my
good.
dad came one time and he was like, Jesus Christ, and there's like 30 people here. It was
Yeah.
huge. It was definitely our biggest one. Normally it was smaller. So Sadie Hawkins.
But I went over and I was like, and I sat down next to Ross, like on the couch, not knowing anything about Ross. I learned about this dance and I was like, okay, cool. And I just turned to Ross and I was like, okay, well, who are you going with? And he was
Ballsy.
like, oh, well, no one's asked me. And I was like, okay, well, will you go with me? And
Oh,
he was
okay,
like,
so you guys went together?
yeah, like it was like
Okay.
it was like the first. I don't know. You said yes, but then as I was leaving, it's canon.
Etched, yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go. And then as I was walking the door, I was like, so are you gonna get my number so that we can like coordinate what we're wearing? Or
Yeah.
and Ross was like, oh, my phone.
Where's my phone? Yeah,
Where
of
is
course, of course.
And I was like, we're
And
like.
so
That's so cute.
And so
like a fumbling idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic. You know.
Yeah, I was just like,
But
okay, well, I'm gonna come. So
You
I don't
just
know. I
needed
don't
a
know any
date.
of these people. I just moved to LA, so I was like, "What about you?" And so we coordinated our outfits, and it was like a blue color. I remember because I had a
Very
blue
cute.
dress.
Now, were there flirty texts happening when you were arranging?
There were flirty texts.
Probably because I mean, look, I had just been asked to a dance by a gorgeous girl.
I know. You were
So-
probably feeling yourself.
Yeah, of course. Come on. It's a great thing to have happen to me. And silly me probably then thought like, oh, well, I'm in. You know, I don't need to.
Oh, you did because then you like shamelessly like came on so strong, and I was like, oh no, I don't know.
You were like, yeah, I'm just friends. Like,
Yeah.
I thought we were just going as friends, but
That
you
was-
were like, no.
Well, I was like
I might
probably
as well
going to have asked her
try.
out at some point in the future.
Oh, okay.
You know, if she
so
had.
you already were like, I think she's really cute.
Yeah, of course. You know.
Aw, so it was like right away.
Yeah.
Well, hilariously, as evidenced by when I got home after meeting Ross that first night, I was at the time living with a group of girls that, again, I knew from ASU. And one of them was our friend Holly. And I got back to the apartment and I was like, oh, yeah, I went over and I hung out at Patrick's house. And she knows who Patrick is. And I was like, yeah, and I met like his roommates, you know, Ken, Dave, this guy Ross. And
Yeah.
and she was like, Ross Houselander? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I went to high school with Ross Houselander in Antioch,
up.
Illinois, which is like a teeny
What?
tiny town. And I was like, what? And so she was like, well, you should watch out because you're his type. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And she was like, you know, like blonde, funny, big boobs, like, and
Guilty
three
as
for
charged.
three for three,
Three
really.
for three.
But yeah, so I
I
was
feel like people, the image that they have of you right now is like a Playboy bunny, like
yeah.
really blonde,
No,
really huge tits.
That's the image I
yeah,
have.
no, I actually for a second I did forget this is a podcast and you can't like see me.
We're recording this.
No,
Well,
I
if
know.
you watch on YouTube, but
Right, but if you,
You
don't.
should. Hey,
And
if you
you
don't know,
you
you can
could.
watch this
You
podcast on
could.
YouTube. Watch an ad or two while you do it. You know, don't skip it.
and actually simultaneously press play on YouTube and Spotify and Apple so that we're playing all at the same
All at
time,
once.
but we're getting 3 listens.
And don't
Oh.
mute any of them. Try to sync them
Yeah,
up
try
and
and sing
have
up
like some
perfect.
echo going and turn them all up to full volume.
Yeah.
It's the ideal way to experience the podcast.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
A little symphony.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
but
so you're like, watch out, this Playboy,
And, well, I was just like, you know, like this guy.
this schmuck.
And well, then the funny origin of our relationship was I rebuked your advances for months.
Yeah,
Yes.
after the Sadie
Yes.
Hawkins dance, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, great. Like that was like,
Well, hold on. We're getting too far ahead.
Okay,
So the Sadie
sorry.
Hawkins dance. This is my memory of it. And you
Okay.
guys, it's very blurry because A, it was 10 years ago. And B, I was really fucked up.
Yeah,
all of us were.
But
All
I
of us
just
were.
remember like hearing about earlier that you had a thing for her. Like you were vocal about that you like Della. And I think you were also telling us like she's not really like, it seems like she's not interested. Or maybe you were also telling me that on the side too. You definitely were. At some point we talked
was
about
just
it was
like-
known to
I was
everyone
just like
else.
new in town, making friends.
Yeah,
you know, like-
exactly. It's not that she was like completely turned off, but it was
No.
Yeah, no.
I'm figuring things out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I just remember, I forget who the hell else it was that was trying to, we were like being little like, ooh, let's get them together kind of thing that night. And we were like trying to, actually this is so fucked up now that I think about it, but like trying to somehow get you into his bedroom.
They were trying, let it be
sorry,
known.
Sorry, the most unsexy bedroom in the world is that the bedroom you're talking
Truly.
about?
Yeah.
It would have been hard for you to get us in because the door opened the incorrect way.
Yes.
So it would have not ever been a casual experience to like scooch around the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way to like accidentally enter that bedroom.
And it was cramped. And then you had a huge, like the computer monitor for
Yeah, of
games
course.
and
Yeah, of
stuff.
course.
Yeah. So
You know.
Games, porn.
Both, obviously. You don't have one without the other, quite frankly.
2 screens, right?
Yeah, come on.
So that's what I remember
Yes,
of
so
it. And
Right.
didn't you guys hook up that night?
No.
But you kissed?
I don't even know.
We did not kiss.
Nope.
Ross made for a kiss, and I swooped him.
Oh,
I swooped him.
you did the cheek
Yeah,
turn.
not for
swooped
lack
him.
of trying.
Yeah. So then for like months after that, I like tried to like duck, dodge, and weave.
Well, because again, like I'm like I got
dances.
asked to this
God,
dance, and I like this girl, so I
He's really holding on to that being asked to a dance.
come on. You ever get asked to a dance?
I was asked.
It's like, it never happened in my life. Okay, let me have this.
But and I just wasn't like probably doing a good job of like flirting. Also,
I was struck by how, like, just like open and willing to
Persistent?
be vulnerable. No. Just like willing to like be told no and be like you'd be like, what are you doing later? Do you want to come over and maybe like hang out? We could like get food. We could watch a movie. You could sleep here. And I'd be like, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna come over to your house and watch a movie and sleep there. So no. But then you did ask me on
She's
a real
a lady.
date.
yeah. So
And
eventually,
so you were
exactly
waiting for
graduated
that.
to like
Good
actually
for you,
like
Della.
asking her
Good
out.
for you for not putting up
dinner.
with that fucking Netflix and chill shit.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
because I had like been so open about being like, well, no, and
Not in that room.
there was and
Yeah,
there was,
also that like it was not an attractive place to bring a woman back. I don't blame anyone
And
for
it
not
was
wanting to
also right
be
off the
in that
kitchen,
apartment.
too.
Yeah, come on.
So like no privacy.
No privacy. Everyone knows the whole house shakes like anytime
Yeah,
you
yeah.
open like and stuff. That place was wild, you know.
Yup.
So
but it was honestly very like sweet, and it very much like was flattering, and I said yes to the date. You know, now we've been together for almost 10 years, so
how about
I
that?
know.
Persistence
and they started
sometimes
dating
pays
right
off.
around the same time Max and I did. So
yeah.
we're
Months
same
off.
year. So are other friends
Go
too.
way back. That's why we've been in agreement this whole time, like we said earlier, and all of our judgments of people will be equally in
What do you mean?
agreement.
Oh, exactly. Yes, we are all.
We're doing a
in
podcast here,
agreement. Yeah,
Shannon. I don't know if you're aware.
I
We get to
forgot.
judge some people. When you texted and said you guys want to do an episode, I was so excited because I love to have opinions on other people's situations.
Well, you are commenting on our Instagram sometimes, which I
Yeah, it's
very
fun.
much appreciate.
That's like it's the clips are good and there you go. I've got thoughts on
Yep.
lots of them. Can we
Sure
rehash
does.
some? As someone, I have a comment. Let's go way back. As someone who is. I don't even consider myself. I'm not even comfortable calling myself a pilot in training. I
talk about this one all the time.
but I have aspirations of being a pilot, and I'm doing just online ground school right now because to be a pilot, you have to do a certain amount of written school. You need a certain number of hours. You need to pass an FAA approved exam, like administered by someone, and you need a certain number of hours in flight instruction. There's a whole process behind it. And so
Wow.
the guy who insists on being called a pilot because he plays a lot of flight simulator,
Yes.
YTA.
YTA.
I'm like,
Huge Y.
You
like
know?
ridiculous.
because like I said, I haven't been up for a flight lesson yet, so I don't
Yeah.
consider myself like a pilot in training even yet. I'm just like taking the early steps at becoming that in the near future.
And as we say, you have to have flown a plane.
Yes. Yep. Mhm.
You have to have.
You have to have been the person taking it off,
Yes.
flying it around, and
And
landing
landing
it
it.
to be called
a pilot.
A pilot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought
So-
you were about to admit that you were the pilot.
Oh yeah, that was
You
me
wrote it.
the whole time. I wrote that. That would have been a good twist. Here,
would've been
I'll do that, and then we'll just edit this.
Rewind,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That pilot was me.
So good.
Hollywood magic right there.
Well, today we are going to do a more lighthearted theme
Okay, I love.
because we are recording on. Well, actually, I don't know that I would call it lighthearted, but we're doing ghost stories, ghost-ish stories, haunted, because we are recording on Halloween. But I already did a Halloween episode, so I'm like, why don't we do something spooky?
Yeah,
ghost
spooky.
stories. And we want to keep it light because this is airing on the day after the election. So either congratulations or I'm sorry to whatever happened.
Get out and vote.
I think we're all a little
You
worried.
will have, hopefully. Hopefully
out
you got
and
out
vote.
and voted.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's-
Mail-in ballots,
it'll be too
baby.
late
It
by
is too
then.
late.
Okay,
Yeah.
too late.
You did no. You
Like,
just said that.
right.
You
Yeah.
just said it's after. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But
at that.
also, you guys know that our ads are just regional because we can't choose our ads, okay? And we have gotten some complaints about there being political ads. I'm really sorry. I checked. There's not really anything we can do about it, and we can't choose like which side to advertise. So I'm just going to say we don't stand behind any of those ads.
Sorry, guys. I'm the one who's been picking
You
all those ads. This has been me this whole time.
Well, can you pick some better ones, please?
I will take your feedback into consideration and follow up with you at a later date.
Thank you.
That's how you do it in the customer service.
That's how
world.
you do it.
No, your transparency is what I'd love to see. Like more people do is just like it's sorry, like this is what's happening.
No, it's
You
really
know,
bummer.
you
I
can't
wish we
control it.
could. But so, what are your guys' relationships with this supernatural?
Ooh, I love stories and lore.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a big fan of like a good story told well about something crazy that happened.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Like I won't watch scary movies because I'm way too scared, but I want someone to tell me what happened in the story.
Yeah.
Because I love the story of
Yeah.
scary movies. Unless they're just literally gore. But like normally they have pretty good twists and stuff.
Yes.
So I'm like, tell me what happened, but I can't watch it.
Ooh.
I'm kind of the opposite where I enjoy the witchy stuff and the supernatural stuff, but I'm just like a healthy skeptic because I've never experienced any kind of like paranormal activity of any kind. But I love horror movies and I love even the gory ones, just for the craft involved. Like mostly I find that like, especially from like a special effects perspective, they're fantastic and they usually have like fun message or story, like surprisingly so. Like even the ones that seem like really schlocky and stuff, like there's a lot of like pure creativity happening kind of because why else would you make these movies for no money?
Yeah.
So I do enjoy them for that. Like when you find the kind of gems in there.
Yes.
I would love
So you like the cinematic portion of it?
well yeah the literally like the art of it, like the film of it, but I also love like horror books and stuff because I do like being
So you like the story?
yeah no I do. I love that as well. I love being scared. I love a good story, a good like ghost story or
Really?
something.
I do not like being scared.
I like it. It's a rush. It's like an adrenaline rush.
I
guess
like
it. Can
it.
be kind of fun.
I
Like,
think I like it because it makes me feel alive. I don't know if it's
literally
like
that.
it's like let me feel something.
yeah. I don't know if it's like specifically adrenaline, but it's like it like rocks you a little bit. Like we just went to a haunted house like over the weekend and we all like took turns in our group like being in the lead. When you're in the lead, like people are like waiting in the shadows, like about to jump out at you.
Oh yes,
And
yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
and
the
like
sense
that
of
like
dread.
that like raw feeling of kind of like something coming at you from some direction and not knowing where it's coming from. I hate, but I think it's right on that like I don't know, what is it, like right on the cusp of like loving it though, because I'm just like, ooh, anything could happen.
That feeling of
Yeah.
a jump scare. Yeah,
I
it's
think it's-
adrenaline.
I think it's similar to like why people like roller coasters and thrill
Yeah.
rides because it's a safe way to feel those rushes,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, and you know, you're not actually like they can't touch you at these haunted houses. If
Yeah.
you're seeing a movie, it's just a movie. You know, like the worst that could happen is that someone could like jump out at you on the screen.
And maybe
so,
that's why I like true crime and like true crime stories. Like I
that
like
makes sense.
psychological thrillers and like reenactment of true crime
Mm-hmm.
things.
Yeah.
Because like that gore, I mean, I still turn away with the gore, but like that doesn't bother me as much as like literally I'm more afraid of ghosts than I am of a guy coming and like robbing me or whatever.
yeah, ghosts are harder to defend against.
I've gotten, yeah, exactly.
You could
You're, like,
kick
out
a
of your
robber
elements.
in the sensitive area. There's no, the ghost is just gonna pass right through that. It's terrifying.
Although this is like the bear or the man theory. It's like you would rather have a
Yeah,
ghost
would
or
you
a
rather
man.
be
I
in
think
a room
everyone
with a
would
ghost
choose ghost.
or a man? Yeah.
I'd be the only one. No,
Every
that's
time.
not true.
It's for the same
That's not
reason as
true.
people choose a bear, though. It's because it's like you feel like there's a way out. Like you can. The fact that you can't
the
reason
ghost
with it is like
needs
makes it more
help.
predictable.
The ghost just needs help.
The ghost needs help. Oh yeah,
You
they
know?
want to do
Like they
their
all
business
want to pass
and
on.
then
They want to pass
on.
You know what I mean?
That's kind of what bears want to do too. They want to do their business and pass
That's
on,
true, that's
and people get in their way.
And
You
they're
know.
in their home.
Yeah.
But
You're
like
in their
a
home.
random man, he could be thinking anything.
What's his business?
Okay, now what about this one? Ghost or bear?
Where are left alone? Where are we on the island? Are we in a dark room?
A dark room. No,
And
like
if you're inside with a bear, you're fucked. is the
true.
bear hungry? Is really the question.
And also they're out of their
I
element,
think-
so they're just gonna go after whatever.
I think
I could-
ghost. I think ghost.
I think I could play dead easier with a bear.
I think ghosts, because I think we
I
would
would
make
do
friends. I
ghosts.
think we'd end up being like serious like pals.
But what about if it's a ghost that's like evil and like after you?
Well, I'm assuming in this
Then
scenario,
you gotta outsmart it. Usually in the
this-
movies, you usually gotta like find out what it really wants, or like what it's after, or like how do you activate the amulet of such and such to ward off the spirits.
I would
so that it is a
therapize
puzzle,
this
which is I do
ghost.
love puzzles, so that could be fun.
Oh, it's like a escape room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I would
But a bear
therapize.
is there and a ghost.
yeah. It's
I would therapize the ghost. I'd be like, why are you, come on, man. Like, let's just have a little conversation. Let's chat about it.
Yes.
Like, what's wrong?
what makes you scared?
Yeah.
What if it's like the Grim Reaper?
Oh.
Well, the Grim Reaper is like the embodiment of death, isn't it? So then you're like, all right, can you cheat death? Do you think you could cheat death?
True. So they're both going to attack you, but the Grim Reaper probably wouldn't do it as viciously. The bear would do it viciously.
Yeah. Plus the
Why
often
do we assume the bear is vicious?
That's
The
true.
bear could be nice.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like you could be like, the Grim Reaper is for sure going to get me. This bear might not.
See,
So
I
then
think
maybe you want to choose
I think
the bear.
the
But
ti-
you can outsmart the Grim
Well,
Reaper.
that's the thing, like, right? Death usually lets you like play a game for your soul or something, or like to get out of it.
Sell your soul
What
to
would
the
you
devil.
choose? What would you? What game would you play? That you could beat death at?
Oh God.
Ooh.
Oh, just any kind of like an actual game or a
Yeah.
riddle?
What game? What would you choose?
I would pick
Like a
throwing.
board game.
I don't know. I would pick throwing darts at those balloons like they have at the fair.
Oh, that's a
you
good
know,
one.
I feel like I could really
1v1 Halo.
do a good job.
Oh.
Give him an Xbox controller. He has no idea what that is. Give him the Duke, the giant one. Dude's not gonna know what he's doing. Headshots
he
all
probably
day,
doesn't
sniper
have
rifles.
thumbs.
Yeah, come on, right? They're too long. Maybe there might be skeleton fingers or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
so-
yeah. Too long. That's a good one.
His
I just
choice.
think
Or
that he wouldn't have
backgammon.
good
If I
aim.
wanted to be like a fair thing, I think I could beat death at backgammon.
Okay. Yeah. Where he like knows what he's doing.
What about
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Like that's an ancient game. That's something that would be around when death was created.
I would say skee ball.
Ooh, are you
or
good at
like
skee ball?
bowling? Yeah, I'm good at things that are like underarm
Yeah.
kind of throwing, like
Okay.
pitching in softball.
Yeah, were you-
and then I bowl like when you're a bowler in cricket.
Yes.
I was actually really good at that. I'd play
You
with my
played
English
cricket?
friends. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
On bowling day, which is the day after Christmas, in the park, there was a huge community in Phoenix that my mom was friends with of UK people, all the different countries, and we would play that. And I was a really good bowler.
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
I just had
Brilliant.
that skill.
Yeah, it sounds great. Was it bowling or cricket? Because isn't cricket with the
I think
bat?
that's true.
Was it like
You're
lawn
called
ball?
the bowler, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
have
okay.
to
You bowl
bowl.
to the guy
It's
who's
basically
batting.
the
Got
pitcher,
it. Got it.
But in cricket, it's
I was
called
my
the
misunderstanding.
bowler, yeah.
Nice. That
I
sounds
believe.
fun.
So anyway, all right, we're really
Cool.
rambling, but
That's what we're
okay,
here for.
ghost bear. I think we're all choosing.
So would you choose cricket for your game?
It depends on the kind of ghost.
Yeah, or skee ball.
Oh yeah,
probably
skee ball. Skee ball would be good.
Well, I think that I would maybe, but then I would be so upset. I mean, I guess I'd be dead, but I'd be so upset with myself
No, I think that's I think you've given a great answer.
if I didn't
you lost.
play.
Yeah,
if I lost.
if you
Yeah,
lost.
if I didn't play well.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I would die so disappointed in myself.
Yeah, it'd be a rough way to go.
At least
So
with
maybe
the
I choose the bear. the bear's less
least it's like
humiliating.
there's
It's less
nothing I can
hubris.
do.
You know?
I'm just clearly not as large. All right, so I do these things now on the Instagram called a whole poll. And I get people to answer some polls for me and determine whether they're the asshole or not. I mean,
I love
Great.
it's not really like, they're not really an asshole for this, but let me get it out.
Well, let's see what the poll says
we'll
first.
be the judge
Yeah.
of that. Okay, so we did a whole poll of would you tell someone if they have something in their teeth? And so then Clark from Chronically the Sickest Pod, she was on an episode and we were then talking about that, and then it was kind of segueing into breath though. So I said, piggybacking off of last week's poll with the spinach in your teeth, do you tell someone you don't know that they had bad breath? So what do you guys say? You don't know them. And it's like a cashier at a grocery store, or like, this is the other example you used, is you're at a wedding and you're meeting your friend's like friend for the first time.
I guess for me it's situational, like not to cop out, but I like grocery store. No, sorry, we're never gonna interact again ever.
Yeah.
But if it's like like someone like or like the bride or something, someone at a wedding where I know they're gonna talk to a bunch of people, especially if I can do something about it. If I have like maybe I would try to be tactical and like
Hey,
find a mentor. Yeah, you know what I mean.
But then sometimes people say no.
Yeah, and then you know what?
Then whatever. I tried.
I would never say
Not my
anything
problem.
about bad breath.
Yeah.
I would never say anything about bad breath. I would say something about the spinach and do. I commonly will tell people when there's stuff in their teeth, and here's why. It's a power move. It's a power move. And
hot take.
you're telling this person, hey, I can be, we can talk about this. You've got a little something. You can trust me. You know what I mean? You're giving them like the little like wink and the
opening
nod.
up that
we're
on that level.
Yeah. Like you immediately go for it. And then the person knows that like they've been embarrassed, but only to you. And so then they feel a little bit indebted to you. And so I think it's like a total power move.
That's so funny.
And so I can and do often tell people,
Nice.
oh, you got
I
a
thought
little
you-
something right there.
Anytime
I thought
can
you were
use-
just being nice to me.
You thrive off of this.
Well, you
good.
know.
I think
love it.
I think
That's
it's
so
I do
funny.
appreciate it if someone tells me because I'd rather know
Everyone
than not
does. That's
know.
the thing.
Right?
That's what
like,
the power
the
is.
bad breath thing though,
Oh, bad breath is hard.
because it's more personal. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like with stuff in your teeth, it's like, oh, it happens to like, and bad breath does happen to everyone too, though.
yeah, of course.
But it's just like something about it just feels a lot more like it's embarrassing more than the teeth.
Isn't it
thing.
like if it's not something someone can fix in 5 seconds,
Yeah.
don't tell them?
I think
Exactly.
for social
Clark
stuff
said
that's
too.
why I was thinking
Like if it's like
I can't
a
do anything about
shoelace
it.
or something untucked or your hair
Flies
is
open or
wrong
something.
or whatever, like you know, zhuzh yourself.
Yes.
But if it's like you have like I don't have the means to fix that right now, like
even if you don't have a mint or something,
yeah,
or maybe
it's
they have a
kind of
mint.
just. Hey, do you have?
Hey, do
a
you have
mint?
a mint?
Okay,
That's good.
good. You reverse
but-
it. You reverse it.
You reverse it. Oh, but you could be asking for yourself.
Oh, that's
the key.
the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. You just ask for yourself.
Like, hey, man. Hey,
do
and then
you
he
have a
says
mint?
no, and you go, I do. Would you like one?
no,
Is
it's
that
as
the
if you
next-
don't have
That
one.
no, that's suspicious. No, you gotta.
You should, if you had one, you should just offer.
Well, I know that's the funny twist. that's when they'll get it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like saying
take
it
care
without
of it.
saying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then you couldn't offer them one.
Oh,
Then you'd be like, oh, sorry, I ran out. Maybe you should go find
no,
some.
I'm saying you have them, but you approach and ask anyway, so that in case they do, you're like, oh, great, thank you, and you take one, and then maybe they also do. But if they say no, then you whip out yours, and you're like, well, I do. Good for both of us.
Della, that's going so far
So-
out.
so-
Because then you'd be like, then why did you ask me?
I'm planning a wedding with this woman.
You never? Okay. I don't think
so
you're getting
sad.
it. I don't think you're getting it fundamentally.
I don't
No,
think we're
I don't
getting it.
think you are.
Anyway, yeah, I probably most of the time I probably wouldn't. Honestly, just like I'd be like, it kind of sucks to be them. If it's someone I don't know, and if it's like for me, it's like if you're at like an important affair, like if I know someone's about to go, like I don't know, meet the president or something, maybe I'd say something.
Hey, take care of that.
But again, like a cashier, it's like, nah.
What do you feel like if someone tells you, if you were told like, hey, you have bad breath, you need to fix that? What like, you know what I mean? Like, what would your response be to that?
I
Punch him in the face.
Would you feel?
What'd you say?
I said punch him in the face. No, I wouldn't. Obviously, I'd
Like,
go look. Yeah,
would
go-
you
I would
feel
be
like,
like-
oh shit? Wouldn't you be like grateful?
Yes, and that's the silver lining to, or not silver lining, the catch-22 of it.
Yeah.
Is that it's like, it is the right thing to do, but it's like an awkward situation.
but it's uncomfortable.
It's
That's
really
the catch. It's
uncomfortable.
the right thing to do, but it's a little uncomfortable. So
But it is the right thing to do.
yeah.
But with like just the
it's like shopping carts.
cashier-
It's like it's the right thing to do, but I could just leave.
Yeah. Well, that was our first one.
Yeah,
That was
there you
the
go.
first a-hole poll. Well, when I was in Paris and Europe, I'm telling you, the concierge downstairs had the worst smelling breath
Yeah.
I've ever smelled in my life.
French.
Yeah, how many cigarettes was he smoking?
It was radiating off of them.
Oh.
And I was like, it literally hit me like a wave. Like I took everything in me to not be like, whoa, like taken aback as
Yeah.
if wind came and knocked me out. In that case, like, I'm not going to tell him that.
Yeah. Also,
You can't.
hey man, I almost died when you breathed on me right now. So can you do something about that? Right? It's all about tact, right?
Yeah. I can't breathe out of my nose when I'm around you,
That too. It's like,
please.
is it fixable? Man, I don't know. Maybe he's got like tooth decay or something.
This one had to have been a hygiene thing.
Yeah.
It was too bad. I've never saw anything like it. Okay, so This is what the listener said. When you don't know them, do you tell them? 14% said yes, and 86% said no.
I get it.
I get that.
That seems right.
It's, you know,
that seems right.
That's the thing, because I don't think you're an asshole if you don't tell someone that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's like a nice thing to do, and it's probably the best thing to do. But I can't call someone an asshole if they don't do that, right? Like, it's, you know.
All right, now I did another poll. What about if you do know them? And maybe we should give examples. I feel like with each other, you probably tell each other. Or have you never? Or do you guys just never have bad breath?
Yeah, my breath is perfect at all times.
All the time.
I would tell you.
I think I would tell you. I think it would tell you if it was like.
It's been 10 years and you never did?
I don't remember you saying it. But again, like, we have good dental hygiene. We brush our teeth. I have a water pick. Did I mention that? Maybe I didn't.
2 times for the water.
Sponsored by.
Yeah, this podcast brought to you. I don't remember saying it ever. Like, I'm sure there's also been like, I know that there have been times when I've had bad breath. Like, I know there's been times where you've come home and I've had like like an onion sandwich or something, you know what I mean? And I'm like, or like I'm sure, or like a bunch of coffee. Like, I drink coffee all the time. So there's gonna be times where it's probably not perfect, but it's also like, are you like breathing on that person in that moment? You know what I mean? Well, yeah, I would hope that if my mouth tasted disgusting.
So you guys just are never grossed out by each other's mouths, or you just never talk about it?
I
don't remember feeling grossed out by the like.
I am not grossed out by your mouth.
Yeah, I'm not grossed out by your mouth.
Certainly am not.
In fact, I like it.
I love it.
You know? I'm gonna marry it.
If it was bad,
sure.
I would tell you. But there are. I guess it's again like how close they are.
Yeah.
Like, if it's like someone who's quite close to me, I would tell them. But if it was just like a friend, I don't think I would.
Like you, I mean, again, like you point out, again, in a helpful way, things in my teeth, if I have like an eyelash somewhere, or like, flies I'm done, all those kind of things. Like, I'm sure, same. Like, if we were going somewhere and I was like, here you go. Or again, I guess I assume anytime you offer me a mint, maybe that's
Then
your tactful way, right? That's kind of like,
is. But maybe not.
But sometimes you just have a mint and like, hey, do you want a mint? I'm gonna eat a mint.
Having a mint, so
that's true. So
she's going around just asking people for
Yeah.
mints, offering mints,
Yeah.
asking them, and then offering
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
She needs them.
Offering them without having them to offer.
bartering. She's trading. What
Hey,
is
would
she
you like a
doing with the
mint?
mints?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so would I.
I've got some as well.
I've got 3 Tic Tacs, 2 things of spearmint gum.
And
You
they're all
can't-
for you, buddy. With the
There's
shitty
no
breath.
way
toys.
to know with Della. That's the beauty of it.
Hilarious.
Keep you on your toes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so then someone wrote in and said, knowing them isn't enough, has to be someone you know well and see regularly. And then I said, when do you tell? Oh, sorry, with the what if you do know them, 66% said yes, 34% said no.
Yeah.
And then I said, when do you tell them? 60% said only if they are a close family, friend, partner.
That sounds right to me.
8% said, I'll tell anyone to save their embarrassment. 30% said, I just offer a mint. And then 2% said other, and they DM'd us. And then, so then we had a couple other polls too. But that makes sense to me. That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although we then had someone that write in and said, I'll pretty much only tell my partner or immediate family. I'm even too embarrassed to tell my best friends. And honestly, I kind of agree with that.
I get it. Like, I don't think it's again, it's not like a pleasant thing to do to tell someone, right? Necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of, again, feel that secondhand potential embarrassment for them. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I can't fault someone for not telling
I
someone.
think I just stay out of the vicinity of their mouth, and it becomes not a problem.
Yeah, I try to stay away from them, I guess.
But I have had a long-term friend, and they, like, I think they just have halitosis or something. And I'm
I was
kinda
gonna say
I don't know
sometimes
what
it's
to
like a
tell
medical
you.
thing, so
Yeah.
you can't
I just kind of put up with it.
That's what we do for our friends, I know. Sometimes people have bad breath or are annoying, and you got to just put up with them.
Yeah, I know you got to
be their friend or not. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a friend or a partner who like is obsessed with this mint thing, giving and receiving mint.
Yeah, exactly. You're just
You gotta put
constantly
up with
finding
them
mints in
about
your pockets and in your bags, and they're
The
just
mint
like,
game.
yeah, you
I like
wake
to
up
keep
and
it
your
fresh.
mouth is full of gum, and you don't know what happened.
I like to keep it unexpected.
Well, so then this other person says it means that the person has a chronic sinus infection. They haven't been taught how to floss their teeth, or they need to go to the dentist. My friend has an infection in their mouth. Oh, like if my friend has an infection in their mouth, I want them to see the dentist. That's another point. What if they're sick a little bit?
Yeah, that's fair. But like, you can't beat yourself up if you can't diagnose someone's medical issues either. You know, I think at a certain point people do have to kind of take care of themselves.
It's not their
if you, I mean, if it
responsibility.
bothers you and you think someone is in medical danger and you want to tell them, again, you're never going to be the asshole for saying something to someone and just be like, hey, like, I don't want to embarrass you. Like, obviously you do it in a tactful way too, right? Nobody, like, you shouldn't go up to somebody in public and like scream at them that their breath is bad. If you can like take them aside and say, hey, I have concern, you know.
Yeah.
I'm having concerns.
But then is that too serious?
It depends on your relationship with them, right? Like, you know, if you feel
how your breath smells like shit.
Sit down.
We're all here.
Yeah.
Because we care about you.
Yeah, if you stage an intervention for someone, then it's
I think it's just too serious to like sit down like that, but it could be like, hey, your breath is kind of stinky, and then maybe if it happens again, be like, actually your breath's been like kind of smelling recently, like maybe you have something going on.
Hey, everyone's starting to smell.
It sounds like an after school special, like
a 7-7 episode.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-camera, like, hey man,
Yes,
I've been
A health
noticing
class
lately.
video.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell your friends about bad breath. This is like a dental ad, basically.
Yeah, how the hell did we get here?
Yeah, if you think your friends have like tooth decay, I do think it's a nice thing to tell.
You're right. All right,
Like,
I guess YTA if you don't tell your close friends.
because they could die or lose their teeth,
True.
suffer from expensive dental bills.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree. I don't know. I think there's
Okay.
No,
well
I will
then,
say I think
no
NTA
assholes.
if you don't.
Yeah,
I think no
NTA.
assholes here. NAH, like honestly.
I think NAH. I think you can be. There's an opportunity here to be a good person, and or in
you
my
don't feel-
case, like
Save
lord
their
something over
embarrassment.
somebody. But in general, I like
If you don't feel comfortable, I'm not going to fault you for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, I agree. I agree.
Nuanced takes, baby. That's what the
Nuanced takes.
podcast loves.
That's us.
That's
Just
what we're
agreeing.
here for.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Please rate, review, subscribe. Follow us on Patreon, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and join us on Patreon. Oh, wait, I already said that.
You can do it
Double
twice.
plug.
And
Make
listen
two,
to us on
make two
Spotify.
accounts on Patreon. Subscribe twice.
That's right, honey.
You
There's
can
some
argue with
juice over
me
there.
in the Instagram comments
Yep.
from time to time.
He's
as well.
Ross, look out
insufferable.
for him.
So
No, I love your takes. That was great. Keep on
Nuanced takes.
commenting.
Nuanced takes.
Okay, so second story of the day, AITA for refusing to allow a Ouija board in my house. But first, AITA for telling a spooky story to my young grandkids. Last week, my wife and I invited our daughter, son-in-law, and their 2 children, 7 and 5, to our home for dinner. We live down a long, winding driveway in a large forest. This evening was particularly cloudy and windy, which was making the house creak. As the evening wore on, my daughter and son-in-law said it was getting late and they needed to go soon, but I insisted on telling my grandkids a spooky story. I loved ghost stories at their age, and I remember many a camp out where my father told these sorts of tales to my brother and me. I turned out all the lights and lit some candles. The wind was howling now, and it set the scene perfectly. I was about midway through the story when a mischievous thought entered my head. The character in my story was lost in the woods and heard mysterious sounds. I whispered. The air was very still, and the man, or bear, wandered through the dark forest like the one out there. And I gestured to the woods behind our home. The kids had their backs to the woods, and as they turned around, I banged my hands hard on the wooden table. The kids shrieked, and the younger ones started to cry as they ran into their parents' arms. Everyone gave me a dirty look as I howled with laughter.
I love this one.
Yeah.
I tried continuing the story, but I had a wicked case of the giggles.
Happens.
My son-in-law turned on all the lights and he said, I think Grandpa's had enough fun. Time for us to go. He was staring right at me and scowling. I couldn't believe what a poor sport he had been. I was trying to have a little fun after all. After they had left, my wife tore into me. She said that what I had done would be cruel to anyone's kids, but with my own grandkids, it was totally beyond the pale. I told her that she was overreacting and not managing her emotions in a proper way. I also reminded her that the weather conditions that night were perfect for such a story.
You can't fault that.
She went off to bed in a huff. Well, this week I got a call from my daughter that the kids hadn't been sleeping well since I told that story, and she thinks it would be best for them not to visit for a while. I was stunned. I couldn't believe that such an innocuous moment from so many nights ago was still sticking in my grandkids' craws. I just want my daughter to see that from my point of view, but she seems blinded by her own self-righteousness and would rather inflict emotional damage. I can't believe this. My wife says that I need to apologize, but I feel like everyone else should be apologizing to me. I feel bad that we won't have our fun dinners anymore, but I don't feel like I'm to blame even a little bit for the story. AITA.
Okay.
I love this so much.
It's so
perfect.
good.
I love this so much.
There are some interesting choices of words
Yes.
used by this person. I think, first of all, I mean, look, this you can't pass up. You can't choose weather. Okay, so when it lines up, you got to take advantage of it. So I can't fault them for
Exactly.
that right off the
Yeah.
bat. You know,
It was right there.
Yeah.
It was low-hanging fruit. He had to.
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's just like what a grandpa must do.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like perfect, ideal grandpa behavior in a way.
Oh my
you know?
God. Wait, so you guys are on the grandpa side?
Well, not fully.
Okay.
Nuanced takes, Shannon.
Nuance is I'm at the moment I'm cackling because I think that I would love this. Like, I would love to do this to like my future grandkids because I think it just like sounds hilarious.
Yeah.
And like the emotional fallout of it would weigh heavily on me,
your heart.
because of course, you know,
Your
like it wasn't, yeah, it's your
grandkids.
grandkids, like you don't want to like scar them or anything.
Yeah, go on. I won't.
No, I was just gonna say, but I cackle along with the grandpa. You know what I mean? Like like it's perfect grandpa like behavior. Like you gotta like rattle some, you know, some kids up, and you gotta like do some like silly spooky things.
That's true. That's true.
I agree with all of that, and I think you're probably like, I don't necessarily disagree with you at any point, but like basically I'm with the grandpa up until the aftermath, and like the
Yes,
line
way
in
he's
there,
handling that.
I don't think I'm to blame even a little bit, and I think what
all of his language.
I think what a lot of people forget is how easy it is to apologize actually, and how much it means to people.
Literally.
And just, like, yeah, I don't think he was in the wrong for telling the story or even going with the spook, but like, they're your grandkids. Like, what do you care more about? Like your pride or
Yeah.
just being like, oh, sorry, I took it a little
sorry.
too far.
And if everyone else is feeling that way,
Yeah,
it's
read the room.
1 out of 5, 1 against 5
It's just not worth it to die on this hill.
or 4.
You know, for like as a grandparent too, because that's the other thing is like, you're not their parents ultimately, or the kids' parents, right? The kids'
Yes.
parents do get to choose like the parenting style and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And whatever, if they had to get the kids home for bed and stuff, like I get all that, like kind
And he
of them.
insisted
Yeah.
on telling the story when
You
they
know.
were already trying to leave.
Right. There's things like that too, which is just like you do have to have some give and take with the parents. So
The
like,
self-righteousness comment.
yeah, right, like that, and the whole like I'm not to blame even a little bit is where it's just like, okay, all right, my God, like
you gotta be willing to come halfway. You gotta
You
be willing to
have
be like,
to.
you know,
And then he also says that his wife is overreacting and not managing her emotions in a proper manner.
right, like yeah, that's very dismissive. You
so
know,
dismissive.
like people have emotions, you can't dismiss
and it's
them.
just giving very like the patriarchy vibes.
Yeah.
It's just,
Women
like,
are too
misogyny.
emotional.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're overreacting.
Yeah, you know, and like I like to go back to like I probably watched like I think Poltergeist was like one of the first like horror movies I've seen. If you've seen it, the original.
No, I don't see any of these.
Okay, yeah. So it's like a scary movie. It's a good horror, but it's like first of all one of the best if you're gonna pick a horror movie. Okay. Incredible. Shout out Toby Hooper. Shout out Steven Spielberg. Sorry, Steven Spielberg.
Think that was the name.
Right? Yeah, that I was gonna stumble over. It's a famous movie. Everyone's seen Poltergeist, right? But I saw it like pretty young, and so I remember being like very scared by it. But it also kind of gave me that rush, and like ended up being like something that made me more interested in horror movies. So like once I kind of like got over that initial scary bit of it, like I was like, oh wow, that again like makes you feel alive. So like the thing about kids too is like they're gonna it sucks if they're still having nightmares about it, but can you really say it was just from this? Like kids could be scared about all kinds of stuff, they can have nightmares about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but it's like they're already okay. Well, this is coming from somebody who it was a scary cat as a kid. Okay, yeah. So that's my perspective.
No, that's what I mean.
Where
like,
go ahead.
Well, it's just like if you were as a scary cat as one of those kids. Like
it's already there is basically what you're saying, right? It's like bubbling over.
Yeah. There's lots of spooky stuff they could have been exposed to over the course. Like, I mean, yeah, you could draw a direct line to it, but
well, it definitely was a catalyst for at least these restless nights of sleep.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
And I remember like definitely having nights like this where like I watched a movie and then for like months I was not having good sleep because I was always so scared. And this happened with one of my best friends when I was little. Her dad, like when we were, I don't know, 8 or 9, decided to tell us about the ghost that he saw in their house the day that they moved in. A little girl at the top of the stairs in a white dress. I could like never sleep over there again because I was terrified.
No, really?
And I would like call my mom in the middle of the night, be like, can you pick me up? I would like almost like pee my pants because I couldn't even walk down the hall to use the bathroom. So I would wake up in the middle of the night and I'd be like having to go to the bathroom so bad. And then I'd be like, Mom, you got to come pick me up at like 3 a.m.
But you never saw it yourself. Nothing ever happened.
No, but like in my mind, it didn't matter if I had never seen one or not. I just was like terrified. And I was scared at home too. And I was always so mad at him because I was like, why did you tell us that? Like what? It was for your own humor. Like you were trying to scare us. And like whether it was true or not, either you were making it up and you were kind of being cruel, or B, it actually did happen. And there was no need to tell us that. I'm still going to be sleeping over your house for another 10 years, basically. Like, how terrifying.
Yeah.
See,
and I was so mad at him.
I totally get that. And I understand that, like, knowing that you're sensitive to those things, it's like, dude, back off. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to, like, lean into it and make you feel worse. Again, I'm just kind of like, I think it's, like, hilarious. Like, I love, like, telling a kid a lie and just being like, yeah, this is how it is. Just because, like,
this is how it is.
Sorry, but the world's made for adults. It's not made for kids. Kids are
but
along
then
for
they
the
become
ride.
Adults.
Kids are along for the ride until they can make their own decisions.
Yeah, and they get over it.
And then if they've been fucked with, then they're kind of like, you know, well, I guess like it's all in good fun, and I can fuck with somebody else. It passes down. See, what I'm trying to say is it passes down a tradition of fucking with each other.
Basically a little bit of hazing.
I guess what I'm describing is hazing. Maybe that's just how I've been raised, so I am.
Well, I was too, but I hated it.
No, I guess I lean. I guess I lean into it, and I.
But I also did it.
Cycles continue.
Kids too, though.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
don't know.
My
I just
sister.
think
I'm
it's
sorry,
like,
but it is a little funny when they're like, and you're like, well, there's nothing. There's nothing. You know, he probably
true.
did make that
I guess
up.
the parents are being pretty sensitive to it. It's like, okay, well, this happens. You're going to be exposed to fear, and maybe as a kid, you have to be exposed to fear to be able to learn how to handle it.
I'm gonna speculate wildly.
Okay.
Just based on, again, like the tone of the post and some of the, like we discussed, some of the language used. It sounds like maybe this is more of a culmination of things rather than an isolated incident, potentially.
So there's like other stuff going on, like with the dad and his daughter and son-in-law.
Well, this grandpa could be a very just like enthusiastic about these kind of things, and maybe is, you know, they're always staying late because grandpa won't stop talking to the kids even though we got to leave, and it's just like, it could be that things maybe have boiled over a little bit, and that's why this has been like more of like a straw that broke the camel's back. Again, wild speculation, but like because it does feel like quite a reaction from the parents, like to like say like, oh, we don't think grandpa should visit anymore. Plus, if it's just Halloween, that means like, do they mean like they shouldn't be there for the holidays?
So maybe the grandpa can go over their house though, because I think maybe they're just afraid of the woods.
That makes sense.
I think the grandpa should dress up as this character, this man, and I think that he should go over to the kid, his daughter's
To their house and ruin their
in the middle
house
of the
too.
night, especially when they can't sleep, and he should rattle the window from the outside and
just
like
be standing
and
there.
totally spook the shit out of him, and then he
Get
should, like,
into the
come
house.
around, get
in
into
the
house.
closet. Get under
then,
the bed.
but then like give them candy or do something funny or
Reveal
like, you know
that
what I
it's
mean?
grandpa.
Like
As a
lighten it up
positive
so that like
experience.
you turn something like quite scary into like something where they end up laughing and eating some candy
So
and joking
then
about it.
They're not afraid of things as much.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's
They
like, he's
relate it
like,
to
and he can be
something
like, that was
great.
just a story. You know,
Yeah.
that was a funny story, right? You know,
Yeah.
like let's just like
This is good.
diffuse the situation. Like, I think it could be really, and also you could just talk about it for ages. It would be like a family legend.
This is
It would
good.
be such a good like.
It totally
That's true.
sounds.
Do it for the.
I told you
do
I
it for
love
the
lore.
plot.
I love lore. I told you I love
Do it for
lore.
the
This is
plot.
great. I'm sure the parents sound like they're going to be really receptive to this idea.
Well, it sounds like they're uptight and need to like cool it. So, you know, maybe this will rattle them as well.
Oh my god, it's so funny how we legitimately thought the exact opposite of this story.
This is
It's
so
so
good.
perfect. I thought for sure everyone was on my side.
The first
but
disagreement
I'm
arises.
honestly, I'm understanding what you're saying.
I think again, my thing is like, I think the story is one thing. I think the reaction, like the whole stuff after the story, is kind of another thing.
Yes.
He's being an
Right?
asshole.
I'm sorry, like yeah, he is being unreasonable
and
afterwards.
not even going to apologize.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you did
Yeah.
something. You didn't mean
You
to.
did.
It was
Yeah,
intent.
you did.
Versus what
But
is
you
that
do need to take some
expression?
like culpability
effect.
for it.
Right,
and,
intent
like,
versus effect.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
I
no.
think
That's-
it's now. I think the ball is in Grandpa's court to make it right. You know,
Yes.
like I don't
by
know.
going over
Yeah,
and
yeah.
scaring them
Yeah, scare-
outside their window.
scare the
Yeah,
absolute
exactly. Make
shit
it
out
right.
of
You
them.
know, like do the right thing. But like, or in some way, come and like diffuse the situation. You know what I mean? Like, even if I don't even know if he has to apologize. I don't think the words like "I'm sorry" have to leave his mouth. I think it can just be like, "Hey, you know that story I told you the other night? You know that's not real, right?
Yeah.
That's just a story I made up, and it's a funny
And
thing."
there's no one in our woods at all.
There's
Yeah.
no one in the
fact,
woods.
I did a spell where you actually like no ghost can even ever
Yeah,
come
I don't
to
think
this
it's like an
area.
apology
or man
situation.
or
Okay,
bear.
this is how he does it. He goes out and he's like costume and stuff, but he has like a big thing of salt, and they see him, he's rustling around, and he's doing that, and he's like, I did a line of salt around
Yeah,
the
yeah,
house,
yeah,
and
yeah,
now
yeah.
you're safe, and that will stay. It's in the ground. It becomes
You
one.
don't have
It'll
to worry
fade into the
about
ground.
it.
You won't see it, but it's there. It's ancient magic
There's
that
no way
only
you could
grandpas
ruin
know.
it.
Boom. I think like it's so easy to just say I'm sorry
Yeah.
too is the thing. Like apologize to your
can
to
be
the
hard
kids.
though. It can be hard.
It can, but
can,
like for
but
this,
you
you know what I
have to
mean?
do
Like,
it.
like it's just
Yeah.
if you're at this point, I think also the relationship with the kids where they're suggesting, if I understand that correctly, they're suggesting like we need to take a break from grandma and grandpa.
Yes.
Like that sounds to me like there may be some deeper issues, more
Yeah.
speculation. And a
Agreed.
simple apology goes a long way, is the only thing I'll say. It's so easy to just say, hey, I'm sorry.
100%. I've held grudges against people and like cut them out of my life. The second they apologize, like a year later, I was like, great, we're friends again.
That's all it
That's
takes.
literally all I
True.
needed.
No, you're
Hey,
right.
I took it a little too far. I'm sorry I didn't like listen
Just
to you guys when you
acknowledge
wanted to
it.
go. It was not my, you can say like I was just trying to have a good time, but I
was trying to make memories. I loved this when my
Yes.
grandpa did it. Explain where you were coming from.
That's all. Have a real conversation with them. It's again, this is family. You're gonna make up so much more ground by
And maybe-
you don't need to hold in the
being
sand. This is
stubborn.
like exactly like
And you
you
need
know.
to like be able to just have like an open dialogue with
Yeah.
too, where it's like, okay, well, they're 7 and 5 now, so maybe this isn't they're a little too young still.
Yeah,
but what
yeah,
about
yeah.
like in
talk it over.
early middle school or whatever,
Communicate.
like preteen, maybe they'd be a little bit better at that age because if you did like Della's just like, nope, granddad all the way. Team granddad.
Look, I'm just on side for gags and goofs. Like I
Yeah,
love a
mischief.
gag. I love
Mischief
a goof.
maker.
I love
Can't you-
mischief.
yeah, but they're postponing it. But you can gag them and goof them in non-scary ways for the next few years, but just wait till a little older. Isn't that reasonable compromise?
Goofs have consequences.
He can just make fun of the way they look for the time being.
He can pick some like other low hanging fruit.
How they talk dumb, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
How dumb their drawings are.
I will.
What's this supposed to be?
Your voice sucks. Stop singing, please.
I
He'll
will
never play the
I
saxophone.
will concede the point that the way it was done was not tactful, or
in the aftermath.
and the
It's all about the
and the whole
aftermath for me.
aftermath and the whole aftermath 100%. I will concede that point. However, I will also say that he sounds like a fun guy.
He does sound like a fun guy. He sounds like a fun grandpa.
I want to know what the story is.
Yeah, but the fact that they're cutting him out, I think he's got some
And-
dark, weird stuff. I'm not feeling him, but he.
Well, we're not really talking about the parents too much either. Because look, here's the thing: these people sound like they have a good life. Grandpa and grandma have got a house. They've got a house. Everyone's got phones. You know, like these. It sounds like they've got a car.
It's
They're-
2024. Like everyone has phones now.
You know, they're sitting down. Like, sounds like a beautiful home in the woods. Like, it sounds like they have like a good life. So,
You're right.
Count
a
your
little bit of
blessings.
a spook here and there. Come on.
All right. So what are we thinking? Also, one last point. When he goes, he couldn't finish the story because he had a wicked case of the giggles, and no one else is laughing. That's weird.
read the room.
Read the fucking room. It's a little demented. It
Okay,
is
yeah, that's true. That is true.
Devilish.
Okay,
A little
that's good point.
demented.
That's
to
a
just
good point.
still be laughing and literally can't get through the story, and everyone else is terrified.
Yeah, it's a very Della trait. To laugh so hard she can't continue the story.
My-
Before
Well, no, I mean-
she's gotten to the funny, for her, it's a lot of times when she's telling a story that
Oh,
is going
yeah.
to be funny and she's anticipating
Yes.
saying the funny thing, and so that makes her laugh,
makes it really
and then she
hard.
can't get the funny thing out. It makes me laugh. Or if she says something utterly ridiculous and then can't continue because she's gotten the giggles from that.
Oh,
no one laughs
100%.
harder than Della at something crazy she just said.
But
And I love it.
no, I agree. I do that too. And I think, but in that scenario, you weren't hurting anyone's feelings or scaring anyone.
Yeah, it's
scaring
something-
anyone.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah,
So with this, it's just like a little demented. It's like, got you.
I could see you doing it during a scary story though. I could
All right,
see
so
it
what are we
happening.
going then?
I'm
We are not agreeing, I don't think.
Okay.
No.
We have our own verdicts, I think.
Well,
Yeah.
I think not an asshole in the telling of the story. I think I think
His behavior afterwards.
the behavior afterwards terms him
I was- I was-
as
Honestly.
such.
I was gonna say the same thing. NTA
Yeah.
for telling the story. YTA for the whole situation afterward, the way that was handled.
I don't know, you guys.
So actually, we're in agreement over couch stands. Yeah,
Couch
Boom.
over there. Now, the love seat over here. I don't know what I'm thinking. I am also coming at it from the perspective of my friend's dad, who really
Yeah.
scared me, and I was
You have a
really
different
fucking
personal
mad
experience.
at him about that. But if he then like got out salt and like put it around the house and was like, "Okay, the ghost is gone," I'd be like, "That's not true."
that's not how that works. I've been doing research,
Like, I'm
and that's
not an idiot. I
actually
wasn't an
I'm
idiot.
experiencing a much powerful spell than some fucking kosher salt, my guy. I'm not an
Yeah,
idiot.
I was like, I didn't believe in that stuff.
real quick? What was his reaction ultimately? Like, did you ever
Nothing.
tell?
He never said anything again after it.
Yeah.
I just lived in hell.
Okay.
For years after that.
Yeah.
And he never thought about it again.
Probably
Yeah,
never.
yeah,
He
I'm
was
sure.
probably drunk. I think he was drunk and just had no idea.
Coulda-
He probably even told us that.
Yeah.
And it ruined anytime. It was my best friend. I was over there every weekend. And then I couldn't stay there anymore, barely. So that's where I'm coming about. So I think I'm just at YTA.
Okay.
He's the
All right.
asshole. Your friend's
My
dad is the
friend's
asshole.
dad, for sure.
you
In
can
many ways than one.
I mean, we're in enough of agreement still to say that
Yes.
we've been in agreement the whole time, like, because there is asshole behavior happening here.
Yeah.
we have to keep this straight.
Yeah, we're keeping
and,
it.
and the writing and tone of the description itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. I think most people agreed with me. Oh no, we did have an NTA. I was traumatized by Poltergeist as a kid.
There it is.
Love it now. They will laugh at this in 5 years. There you go.
There is that's kind
Someone
of where I'm
did
coming
have
from.
that.
Like from the, I don't think the kids are.
I'm like
traumatized.
1,000-foot view.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You
one
know-
day these kids
Think
are
of
gonna
it
be
later.
like,
I don't think
I got
it's- yeah.
spooked one time
Do it
for
for the
years.
You know.
Yeah.
You turned out all right.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
You look
It builds
back on it.
character.
True.
I would argue it builds character.
Yeah, and like I was saying before, maybe you do need to experience fright in order to handle it better later when you're an adult.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I'm gonna show our kids Poltergeist.
Good.
What age? What age? You're like, good.
I think like honestly,
When they're as old as the little girl.
5?
Ultimate spooky.
I think like 10. I think around 10 is probably when I watch
that's
it. Between
good
like
then.
10 and 12. I don't want,
think
you know.
that's good. Don't scare 'em too
at a
young.
certain point, they won't appreciate it either. You know what I mean? Like,
Ooh, unless they're like gagging for it, unless they want it.
should we get to the next scenario?
Yes. AITA. This is a funny title. AITA. Fiance thinks the apartment is haunted. I think she needs therapy. Not even like. Not a question.
Strong. Yeah, coming off strong. All right. Let's hear it.
My fiance Lynn and I, both 28, have been together for 5 years now. I'm an atheist and I don't believe in anything supernatural or spiritual. Lynn, on the other hand, is very spiritual and believes in the other side and has told me accounts of supernatural things that have happened to her throughout her life. We moved into a new apartment last year and it caused nothing but constant stress for her and now me. The apartment was made in the 1800s, so it's an old Victorian house. No doubt it has history. The stuff that's happened has been weird, but I don't think it's due to supernatural things. I think it can all be explained. Lynn seems to think it can't be explained since all of these issues happen and stop all at once. When there's, quote, a presence in the apartment, some weird things happen and it stops when said spirit leaves. Our cat peed in the middle of the kitchen floor when she never does, and now she never wants to go in the kitchen. Well, yeah, probably because she's embarrassed that she pissed herself in the kitchen.
Yeah, she probably should take the cat to a vet. Make sure she's not getting incontinent.
That's the moral of this story. The broom in between the fridge and wall would fall over randomly when there was nobody there. This has happened the most.
It's a classic.
Shampoo bottles fall off the shower. I thought maybe a neighbor did it by slamming the door, but nobody was home the day I witnessed it. The alarm went off at 1 to 3 a.m. As we got up out of bed, it turned off. And then it immediately stopped. I replaced the battery, cleaned dust, tested for carbon monoxide with our separate alarm, nothing. I mean, who doesn't have that problem? You can never get it to stop beeping, right? Yeah. They're just so finicky.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's an 18th century house. Like, what's the wiring like? You know?
Exactly.
Like,
Great point.
when's the last time the wiring's been updated?
Great point. Well, when this all happens, we both seem to wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. Then this all stops and nothing ever falls. The alarm never goes back on and there are no weird noises until it comes back. It sounds like he believes it.
Yeah.
I told her that it's all just an old house and things fall. The fridge is a little older, so maybe we don't close it all the way. There's explanations for everything. The other day, these things all happened again. While she was in the shower, the picture frame we have on the bathroom fell and shattered, and that's what did it for her. She was telling me she wants to leave, but I told her she needs to seek help for her paranoia because it's starting to be too much. We can't just leave now. There are no ghosts. AITA.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think.
This is a really good one.
I guess it's just a matter of if you believe in ghosts or not.
Well, I think it's a matter of if you believe you can coexist with ghosts or not.
There you go.
I think it's like as an atheist and a fellow, like a skeptic, I think it's just more fun to try to investigate these things and like, yeah, okay, first of all, take all these things and be like, okay, well, let's eliminate those obvious things. Like, it's look at it more of like, okay, we've got some problems. They could be with the house. They could be ghosts. How do we tackle these problems together?
How about
right?
move the fucking broom?
Well, yeah. So it's
Put
like,
it
okay,
somewhere else?
Exactly.
let's hang it on a hook to where then it can't like just
can't
fall
fall
over.
over.
Let's have the wiring checked. That's probably, honestly, you should probably let your landlord know about the wiring
Yeah.
with the fire alarms. Have those checked and
See
replaced.
if it's slippery.
Check
where
your
our
fire
shampoo
alarms.
bottles are.
Fire safety. Check your fire alarms. Replace the
fire
batteries.
alarms.
Okay. But yeah, also that, like, yeah, get a better rack, you know. I think it's more fun to just try to solve all these problems, which are good, fun house problems.
And then if it keeps happening,
then turn
you
to the other
know.
stuff.
You got to befriend this ghost.
I have a good relevant story for this.
Go for it.
When Alex and I, my roommate, moved into a new apartment. This is like the second apartment we lived in. So this
The
is
one
like,
on Pickford?
yeah, the Pickford one on
Yeah.
like 2017. We both had walk-in closets, but my walk-in closet didn't have a light switch. So I was like, that's strange. So I was like, I'll stay in here, go around, and like she flipped all the lights in the house,
see
and
if
like none of
it's
them
wired.
controlled this room, which was very strange.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I put like a light in there myself, like one of those little like tappy lights or whatever. But then one day I came home and that light was just on. And I was like, oh my God, the light in the closet is on.
And how can I turn it off?
And it was on for like a couple months, just like on.
And so it was always that little light in your room. Like,
yeah, and I could close the door and stuff.
It had the sliding glass doors, right? So I think they actually did filter out the light pretty well.
Oh, that's
And,
good.
you know?
Because that would drive me nuts.
And
Yeah.
so it was just, and then it would
Yeah.
go off and it would go on. It would go on at random times. And I was like, oh my God. And so I convinced myself that I was like, oh, it's my dead grandparents communicating to me that they're like with me in moments when I need
love
them
it.
most.
In the dark.
And I was like, yeah,
the
like
dark
whenever
of
the light was
life.
on, like they were like with me or whatever. So I was like, oh, this is like kind of beautiful. And so I had this like whole like worked up in my mind, like, you know, what it was. And we were in that house for like a year. And then we're doing like the final walkthrough at the, you know, we're moving again. And the landlord was like, anything that I should know? And I was like, oh, yes, there is.
Oh, and you
like,
had to pay for that the whole time.
I was
the
like,
light
there's
being
like a
on?
mystery light that keeps going on in this closet, and I think it could be.
My
And Alex is going, no. She's like looking at me, and she's
Yeah,
going
like,
like,
let's
no,
not.
no.
Don't tell them.
And I was like, what? And she was like, the switch for it's in my room. Like she was fucking with me the whole year.
So it was going on and off? Or it was
Yes.
just on.
She was turning it on and off.
Like she was picking random times and just turning it on and off to like fuck with me.
Like again, like
Shut
she, for like
up.
weeks at a time, it'd be on,
for a
weeks at a time,
year.
it'd be
For a
off.
year. And so
That's so. No wonder
So
you had
good.
the opinion of the last
So
story.
good.
and so I was like, that's so like kind of fucked up, but
That was my grandparents, you bitch.
And I told her that, and then she felt awful. But
I was
now
gonna ask if you ever
I did.
talked
I
to
was
her
like,
about
oh,
it.
this is what I thought this was, and oh man, it was so good.
But did you ever say something to her as throughout the year?
I would.
Okay.
I would. Like,
But
no,
just not about the grandparents.
No, but I did. Like, she was like, oh, that's when I started feeling bad about it. She kept doing it.
yeah, you did. You mentioned that to her. I think you
Oh my
mentioned it
God,
to me
that's
too, because I would
hilarious.
notice. I'd be like, "This light's on," you know, and she's like, "Oh, it's my grandparents," and I'd be like, "Okay,
Okay.
I'm not gonna touch that."
So I do agree. Basically, it's a roundabout way to say that, like, I agree that everything can be explained by something, and that it's like nothing to, I don't know. It's nothing to like attach to like any significance, unless you do move the room or you do move a thing, and then it like keeps happening.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then you know, right? You gotta test it. If
Yeah,
you're,
you gotta. Yeah.
you know, you got a scientific method it, you know. It's also just more fun.
Elimination. It's like an
process
elimination diet.
Like, are you really just like, if I just think like, also, I don't know, if you have a relationship with someone, you live together, you're really just gonna go straight to like, you need therapy, instead of just being like, all right, well, let's have some fun and investigate this stuff and
Such a
you
good
know what I mean?
point.
So I think, you know, it's a bit of an overreaction to say like you have paranoia and you need therapy if some weird stuff is happening.
I know, and it's like
he's acknowledging
you're
that all this stuff. He's not
acknowledging it.
denying.
It almost sounded like you were completely on.
Yeah,
It's
it
not in her
doesn't-
head. It's
he-
not in her head.
Yeah, he's not
No.
denying that anything's happening, right? He doesn't say like, oh, my girlfriend says this happened and I
And
never
he's
see
saying
it happen.
it does happen in
Yeah.
waves, because even that I think is acknowledging her in a way, because if he was just like, oh, it happens whenever, randomly, like here and there.
He says in there that it's like the spirit enters and then it leaves. Does he give any
the
explanation for
presence.
that? Like,
I think it's probably what his wife says.
Okay.
Or fiance says, that it's like, oh, the presence is
I can
here. It
feel
seems like
it.
the spirit left. And he's like, well, I don't think it is a spirit, but I can acknowledge that it is happening during a window of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like randomly throughout the months. It'll just be like probably 1 week, like a couple weird things start happening.
Yeah.
And then it goes away.
Yeah.
So like, I think that there could be some truth to
I
it.
mean,
It
yeah,
just
like is it
depends.
like once a week a squirrel chews on the wires and then electrocutes itself
Yeah,
and
that
then
could be it.
and wait until another one comes out. But I'm like too, like, yeah, it part of, I think, you know, I used to be a very outspoken atheist, and anyone who
Yes,
kind of
I
usually
remember
almost anyone
that.
who like will go to the length to identify themselves as an atheist at some point had a phase of being really outspoken about it, because like,
Yes.
you know,
Well, it's
religion
similar.
and all,
Yeah,
but-
it's similar as just being really passionate about your own religion.
Yeah.
It's just as
And
bad.
I get that. I get that. And it was exactly right. So what I kind of realized as I got a little bit older was that like I was being just as close-minded
Yes.
as a lot of religious people, I think,
100%.
are being.
To me,
just
it's
walling it
another
off.
religion.
And that's the thing, is like the true, like also learning more about, like, because like atheists are big champions of science, which I also am. I love science. Shout out to science.
Shout out.
But the scientific method is never about proving your hypothesis. It's about learning what the truth is, right? Like the quest for truth. And so that's what kind of like has, softened me a lot on it. And like what makes me think that, again, this guy is probably being a little bit of a hard ass about it is like, what do you care more about here? Do you care more about being right, or do you care about finding the truth?
Right.
And so if you're just like, no, she's wrong, I'm right, then,
So let's err on the side of ghouls for a moment. Let's think about like, what if this house really is haunted though? Like, what if there is some like presence of like some Victorian like torture victim?
And you got to get them to the other side.
Yeah. Like, what if there is like a spirit or a presence there? Like, what if, I'm just saying.
Yeah. What if you can help?
Yeah.
Is there a way?
It's the right thing to do. What if there's a ghost there and it has bad breath?
Oh, what do you do then?
Then what? Put the poll up. Do you tell a ghost if it has bad breath?
What about if it's a ghost?
Yeah. What if you know the ghost? If you know the ghost really well?
If you don't know them, we'd understand.
Yeah, it's pretty, I can't fault you.
But like, if there is some presence in this house that is causing these disturbances and like making her feel on edge and like making her feel some type of way, I think that regardless of the source of the truth, like those feelings are valid, and I think that there's like a more valid way to like approach them than just like by basically saying you need to have like therapy, because like you're just saying, like
you're acknowledging it.
Yeah, like you can open your mind, like to even like the idea that it like could be possible is probably like more than enough. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We did have a comment here that kind of is talking about that. Okay, Nico, no ass is here, just conflicting belief systems. Well, it sounds to me like everything you're describing is just an uneven foundation and old electrical. The fact remains that your girlfriend believes something else is happening. It doesn't make her mentally unwell, and it doesn't sound like she's escalated to the point of needing therapy. Someone else was like, spiritual beliefs are held like religious beliefs. Would you date a Catholic girl and tell her to seek therapy for wanting to baptize her child? No, if you're so strongly atheist that you can't be respectful of other ideologies, you should stick to dating fellow atheists. So that's kind of what I was meaning, I guess, in the beginning of like, it just sounds like it's whether you believe in ghosts or not.
Yeah.
And I do think he's being an asshole for telling her that she needs therapy and not acknowledging or having any solutions to the problems at all, and telling her like, you're calling her a quack.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing about like believing in, because I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. And I grew up like I was never into it, but I grew up going to church. But
didn't we all?
Yeah, basically. But I think like mediums are like talking to me, and like tarot cards and like all that stuff, like the astrology planets, all that. Like I'm into that stuff. Not fully, but like a little bit.
Sure.
I'm not crazy about it, but I
love the lore.
Yeah, I'm interested in
it. I love the lore.
The placebo effect is real.
So yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's true though too. But I like to believe that stuff. I'm a bit of a skeptic, but I like to believe it. And that stuff gets made fun of a lot more than religion does, because it's not like its own religion. It's just being spiritual. So, my mom and like my cousin and stuff are more like this, where they're very into like the woo woo, for lack of a better term.
Woo.
So anyway, I think that stuff just gets like pushed to the side a lot more. I don't think it's nice to make fun of your partner's beliefs.
Well,
I don't think you, like this comment saying, I don't think that you would do that with religions, because they're held to a higher kind of thing in people's lives. Ideologies. Yeah.
When it's interesting that there's nothing that's like more like universal and like ancient and knowing than like these like natural truths of the universe, and like the, you know what I mean, when you talk about like reading energies and like, horoscopes and like the stars, and like I think it's highly unlikely that the moon is like pulling tides and it's not having an effect on people
on your body. Exactly. We're 80% water, or what is that?
Yeah, something
90
like
something,
50 to 80 depending on
how much you've drank that day.
What you feel like
how
saying.
many Kirkland signature grapefruit sparkling water you've been drinking.
No guilt, no artificial flavors. I think
they're all just different ways of people making sense of the world, and
it's whatever you choose.
Yeah, I'm into whatever you like.
Literally, like, reality to a certain extent is what you make. Again, what I was saying with the placebo effect being real is like, it is real. It's like you can take a sugar pill and have the same effects on your body of like painkillers and stuff. Like, people will feel less pain. Their bodies like will regulate, like the chemical changes will occur in your body if you believe it to be so. There are people who can slow their heart down just by thinking about it, that kind of thing. Like, the brain's a crazy powerful thing. And my thing is, like, a skeptic is, you can explain almost every supernatural experience as just the brain loves to hallucinate.
Yes,
Brain,
yes.
It was
heard
proven
this.
that the brain, if you don't have any stimulation, right, if you leave someone alone in like a dark cell, sensory tank deprivation, that kind of thing, it does not take much to get the brain to hallucinate without any chemical stimulation of any kind.
Totally.
You think about back in the day before people had phones to scroll through, you were just farming, and then you'd have like 8 hours of doing nothing.
Great point.
And there
People
are
were
people living in the
hallucinating
woods
all the time back then. That
oh my
sounds
god,
fun.
absolutely! You get a little sick or something, you eat like a weird mushroom, and then suddenly you have some crazy experience.
And you don't
like,
know that you're like, you
have no
the
idea.
You don't
Of course
know
not.
that you're eating a mushroom or like smoking weed or
or sometimes
poppies.
just bored, just literally bored.
True.
Or
you know,
like-
to the point where your brain's like, I have to make something up to get stimulated, or I'll literally like keel over.
Yes.
And like, to me, does that mean that stuff isn't real? If somebody's experiencing something and it's real to them, like, that's all that. We're just a bunch of consciousness is wandering around. Like, what you perceive is real to you. That's what matters to you. You don't care if something else has something real to them. So
I love that.
Also, like, didn't people not have like, when your eyesight starts to go, you can't like get glasses. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
back in
aren't
the day,
a lot
yeah,
of
you would have been
things,
seeing
like-
shapes and stuff all the
it's
time,
like what is
Wait,
that?
great point.
So again, I do think, like, the guy is being a jerk, being an asshole, just because like you're not being collaborative. It's not a good, like, if you have a partner,
being
be
helpful.
be collaborative, be helpful. Again, if not, take all the supernatural element completely out of it. As multiple people have said now, you might just be having some problems with your house that you gotta fix. If your fire alarms are going off at hours, you should probably have that looked at. And if he's just dismissing those things and saying she should go to therapy rather than than being like helping out around the house, like, that's just as bad.
Off.
Right?
I can't stand
Fix it all, and
So-
then maybe like sage the place for good
Yeah,
measure.
yeah,
And
that too. That's the other thing
Lean
too.
into her,
That stuff's
like,
fun.
feelings.
Like,
Exactly.
the
Even
all
though
the
you
spiritual
don't believe
stuff.
in it.
Be open to it because it is fun. It does enrich your life. You know what I mean? Again, as like a skeptic, again, do I believe that like a spirit from beyond is coming to like knock my coffee cup off the table or something? Like, maybe not, but like, did the coffee cup get knocked off the table?
Yes.
Like, do we maybe have to do something about
Totally.
that?
And if Della was like freaking out, I feel like you would be like, not like, you're an idiot, go to therapy.
Just like, okay, what can we, how can I help? Like, basically. So, yeah.
There's so many people went so many different ways. NTA, YTA, NAH, there's so many, but I think YTA.
It sounds like the guy's being a YTA to me.
What do you think? Let me really think about it.
I kind of think YTA.
I don't like
would
the way
say.
he's handling it. I don't blame him for thinking that it was other things, but you need to fucking get it checked out then.
Like, obviously, like, you don't need to move, but you need to do something to fix like the problem at hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
YTA, get your fire alarms checked, guy. Like,
Exactly.
if your house burns down because your fire alarms don't work, it's not going to matter
That's
if it was
on you.
haunted or not.
Exactly.
Haunted.
Haunted. All right, so YTA.
YTA.
AITA for refusing to allow a Ouija board in my house. My oldest child, 14M, went to the mall with her friends over the weekend. I should start by saying that, the cat
That's going to
is
impact
on the tripod, basically.
Frame.
So I didn't have a tripod for my cell phone today, and we put boxes and then a chair and then a clamp for the tripod, and
I'll take a
the
photo of it.
cute little cat was
post it. This is
sitting on the
Kiki.
chair. My oldest child, 14M, went to the mall with his friends over the weekend. I should start by saying that he is an absolute joy of a child. He is funny, kind, helpful, gets good grades, tells me everything, etc. So while I understand that it is my house and I can make whatever rules I want, I am genuinely wondering if I'm being unreasonable here. He texted me from the mall asking if he could buy a Ouija board. I think he knew the answer, but was hopeful he was wrong. I know this is ridiculous, but I was raised by Irish immigrants who were and are extremely superstitious. I just don't play with those things in my house. I don't think I believe in ghosts or the supernatural, but I actually kind of do, and I'm just embarrassed to say that.
Relatable.
I can't shake the conditioning, I guess. I watch scary movies with the best of them, but allow a Ouija board in my house? Absolutely the fuck not. I can't afford to move if someone summons a demon or malevolent spirit or whatever. My son is pretty pissed and says he should be able to buy it with his own money. It is his own money. He earned it. I have countered that if it's just a stupid fake thing, why would he want to waste his money on it? AITA?
Ooh, I like this question a lot too. These have been really good questions.
I like it because of the reasoning for it specifically. Like I was expecting it to be like, you know, oh, it's dumb and he shouldn't be into those things. But it's like, no, I'm scared. Like, I don't want that. That's the relatable part where I'm like, oh, that's actually a much more reasonable reason to not want it in your house. Is like, no, I'm afraid that something bad could happen. Like, I totally understand that, you know?
100%.
Like,
well, let's start with, have you guys used a Ouija board before?
I never have. I never have in like with intentionality. Like,
I don't, not with a real, not in a
yeah,
real
not like
sense.
done like a
I think I've
sit
been around
down
it
and like
touched it.
Oh,
But
I have.
it would have been
So
so
how
good if
was
you
it?
just pulled one out right now.
It's, I mean, genuinely kind of inexplainable because I remember being in, it was like middle school or like young high school and like going over to my friend's house and she had a Ouija board and we would like pop it open and we'd all put our like hands, you know, onto the little mover thing.
I think it's called a planchette.
Okay.
Look it up. I think it's called a planchette.
All right. The planchette.
Or is it a flechette? One of those.
Your reaction, Della. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, planchette. You're right.
Whoa.
Let's go.
Okay.
Still, no one's impressed.
Okay, define planchette then.
The little thing that you do on the Ouija board.
It's specific to a Ouija board?
A small board supported on casters, typically heart-shaped and fitted with a vertical pencil used for the automatic writing and in seances. Very good. Look at you, Trivia King.
So this is my thing too with like the whole like why I kind of got annoyed with atheists again be like not learning about stuff, like, you know, like not like you have to, if you're
Being ignorant too.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're gonna try to refute something, learn about it, you know, be like be able to form like a coherent reason,
Be able to have a debate.
Also, it's more fun.
Yeah.
You get to be a know-it-all, which is the best.
It was quite inexplainable how it was moving because I really don't think any one person was like guiding it. And the way that it like makes words feels like, I don't know. I'm like, no one, like none of us like 14-year-olds are going to make this word or like,
Really?
you know, or like make this story up. Like we're all creative people, but it just felt very like, I don't know, weirdly like it really was some other like entity in the room.
Does that go back to like the psychological thing, like your subconscious is doing it?
Well, that's the argument for it, right? Because like there again have been studies that I've read where people could pass a lie detector test doing a Ouija board that they were not the one moving it, but they had strapped like electrodes and stuff to their muscles, or they were measuring their muscle movements, and they could see that like allegedly like people were having a tiny influence on it. But again, it's that thing of like, does that make it real or not when it's a collective group consciousness thing, which is another thing that does happen.
Yeah.
Like people like get together, if you all believe it, does it make it, it's George Costanza, it's not a lie if you
But
believe it.
How is it making like a coherent word when nobody knows what word it's making? Like
That's
how,
the
you know what I
question,
mean?
isn't it?
Like
That's true.
that's what
Ghost.
was like blowing my
that goes
mind.
back to
The-
like
the study said
mediums,
ghosts
when
is what it
mediums
was.
are like, how would you know that?
Yeah.
I kind of agree with her going back to my scaredy pants stuff. Is that I think I would be like, I don't think I would be, no, honestly, maybe I would. I know it would be like brand new. So then it's like, okay, there's that argument of like, how the hell they're all like just manufactured by some whatever. It's not like an old one that you found in an attic somewhere.
Those are the ones you got to watch out
Oh,
for.
hell no. There's no way I would allow that in my house. But just like a game, because it just like folds up and it just like sits with your games,
If
right?
you pull it out and it's like Hasbro on the side.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. What if Hasbro's run by ghosts?
But maybe it is like the lighting the candles and the collective consciousness and like summoning it, you know, like being intentional about it that does it. Because when it's just sitting there, if you're not doing that, it's kind of like if it's 3 a.m. and you turn on the lights and you say Bloody Mary in the mirror. Well, the mirror's always going to be there. You just don't have to say Bloody Mary in the mirror 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're not actively using it, isn't it okay just sitting there?
That too. I think
When the
also,
powers aren't activated?
I think also, again, like just to like strip away a little bit the supernatural aspect. At the end of the day, parents make the rules. Like, sorry, parents do get to decide. Like,
That's what I was just gonna say.
You know, like about a little bit about like what kids do and don't do. First, to a certain extent, you do have to just put. I wanted a motorcycle. My parents wouldn't let me get a motorcycle when I was a kid. You know what I mean?
True.
They were afraid I was going to hurt myself. And ultimately, that's the other reason why this is relatable, is that ultimately this guy doesn't want his child to accidentally summon a ghost. We've all seen it happen in the movies. You know, a bad negative consequence. So he's coming from a place of love, and but you don't necessarily need to tell, like, kind of what he said to the kid. If that's like a direct quote at the end, was a little bit like, it's kind of jerkish behavior. Just be honest with your kid. Talk to your kid. Talk to him man to man. Hey, listen, son.
Where he said,
you don't know what you could be getting yourself into. Okay, listen. I've been around a little bit longer than you. Okay, I've heard stories about these things, and then you can kind of have a fun experience with it. You know, with him, and maybe again, it's like more about you learn more about it, like, you know, that kind of thing. I think there's just more collaborative and fun ways to handle the rejection of that. And I think his kid would probably get a kick out of learning his dad's scared about something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a good, like, relatable moment to have with your kid.
That's interesting, and maybe it doesn't matter, or it does, but I wonder what the gender is of OP, because like I was thinking of it as a woman. You know, we're putting ourselves in the shoes. Like, you're probably just default thinking it's as a man.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if it, like, I guess that doesn't matter at all. But I guess in general, no, let's not go down that gender path.
I think it doesn't matter, right? Yeah, whether it's the mother or father. Like, I get it. Again, yeah, I think I was just kind of defaulting, or maybe I thought you had said,
like,
but
women are, like, you know, known as being scared easily, but like because we have to live with men in the world.
Yep.
Like, why do you think we're scared?
What's at the root of most monster stories? Who are the real monsters?
The man, honey.
Right?
Man himself.
But we love men.
We do love men.
We love you, Ross.
Some
of them.
We love men. I was not fishing.
A few of them. My dad.
Not all. Are you guys saying not all men? I'm sorry. Are both of you sitting here saying not all men?
My dad will be like, I hate men. He was like, I suck too. I'm an asshole as well. I hate them all.
Testosterone is a hell of a drug. You know?
I think, to Ross's point, if you are a parent in this household, you get to kind of decide what comes in and out of the house. And if you feel uncomfortable about having this thing in your house, like,
I'm not going to tell this person that they need to have a Ouija board in their house if it scares them.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, again, like, it's your kid, and you can enforce the rules. You know, obviously, it's not hurting this kid to not have a Ouija board.
Yeah, it's not going to traumatize him to be told.
It's a classic, like, you know. My dad was like, you can't have a tattoo while you live in the house.
Yeah,
and so I moved out, and
these
then
are
I got
my rules.
tattoos. Yeah, and I was like, okay, fair enough.
And he's 14.
And he's 14. So I just feel like,
I would say,
you know what, kid? You know what, kid? You should buy it with your own money. You should play with it at your friend's house and keep it there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
good
Like,
point.
just lie to your parents.
Yeah.
No?
I'm in for that.
Yeah, well, okay, look, that is what
If that's the rule, then
Yeah.
don't break the rule, but doesn't mean you can't play with the Ouija board. You just can't bring it in
leave
the house.
somewhere else, or put it under your bed or something.
Yeah,
Why do you,
be
I mean,
slick
it's polite
about
that
it.
you even asked.
Yeah. That's
But most people went asshole on this one. But we did have an NTA, and they said, I'm shocked that people on this thread don't know that Ouija boards have their roots in spiritualism. Especially after the mass deaths of Civil War, World War I, people were desperate to communicate with the dead, and fake and charlatans took advantage of them and ripped them off big time. You are well within your rights not to want a Ouija board in your home, NTA. So she was basically being like, you guys are being too flippant about this Ouija board.
okay.
That's that comment. So I think, and for personally,
Again,
NTA,
it's too NGA because it is too dangerous to have this in your house.
not the asshole. Yeah.
It's your house. It's your rules.
No, I think NTA
Game
for
over.
I think NTA for not wanting the Ouija board could have maybe handled the rejection better.
Yeah.
Nuanced takes.
I guess, but it sounds like to me that the son said it's just a stupid. I think the son said it's just a stupid fake thing. Why does it matter? And then the OP countered with, well, if it's just a stupid fake thing, why would you want to waste your money on it? That's what it sounds like to me.
All right, that's fair. NTA.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining me. That was such a blast.
Oh my God.
We're going to a Halloween party tonight.
Yeah.
All decked out, honey. And we're going to record the bonus, so tune into that tomorrow.
On
Thanks
whichever
for joining
platform
me.
you prefer.
That's right. Bye.
Bye.